Everything that you own in Sui is technically yours. If you own a in-game asset for a game, that asset is yours to keep. I started on Solana, I went to Near Protocol, and then I found Sui back in 2023 around July. Gaming on Sui will basically be the future with having one of the fastest transaction times. If you guys don't already know, it's 0.4 seconds. What I wanted to do with Unchained is to create something that you're able to do daily. We are a Wild Wild West inspired NFT collection with the first ever gachapon on Sui.
The best question I have for you to save for the last would be, hello everyone, I have Trevin versus NFT on the mic. I'm going to be asking some questions about Sui and UnchainedOnSui. And Trevin is a brand ambassador for the Sui blockchain along with various projects on chain. Trevin, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hi everyone, my name is Trevin or Trevin Rudy. I am the founder of UnchainedOnSui. We are a Wild Wild West inspired NFT collection with the first ever gachapon on Sui, which is exciting. I've been in the blockchain scene since 2023 and now I make content full time.
Sweet, thanks. Let's dive into a little bit more. So the questions I have are regarding what we call a discourse community. And for people who don't know what a discourse community are, it's just a community that shares common interests, goals, and ways of communicating that result in a specific kind of language or shared ideas of understanding. And I thought no better than to target Sui and Sui UnchainedOnSui that can help us navigate this complex crypto space to bring better understanding to people who don't really know much about it.
I think it's a great idea. Let's get it.
All right. So my first question is regarding the main goal of this discourse community. Could you share the primary purpose or mission that brings your discourse community together?
I think for the most part is I want to create a solid community that is interested in the blockchain scene. For the most part, when people join crypto overall, they want to escape the matrix in a way. That's always been told, but when it comes down to it is it should be your money and your assets that you own. So that is the whole goal of blockchain technology and a main reason why I chose Sui in that direction.
Would you say that it's to break away from like banking systems so you can become your own bank?
Very much so. So everything that you own in Sui is technically yours. So even for an example of like if you own a in-game asset for a game, you own, let's say, a fiery sword. That asset is yours to keep, and you can decide to keep it or resell it on secondary market. And that's the beauty of blockchain technology. You're able to take assets, you're able to take your funds, and make sure that it is yours and no one else has access to it.
Okay. So that kind of goes into NFTs or non-fungible tokens. Could you explain a little bit more about what those are?
Yeah, so a NFT or a non-fungible token is basically an image that is on the blockchain. And in simple terms, this is kind of like your digital identity. So for the most part, back in 2023, we saw the rise of Solana NFTs, where people were repping these animal profile pictures, any type of profile picture that was with this collection. And these had a kind of a sentimental value, but they also had like utility. So you're able to use them for like casinos. You're able to use them to get into exclusive groups. They were kind of like a ticket into the digital era or the digital world in a way. So when you had these, you were able to get into like private parties, private groups, like I said before, and kind of like if you bought like sneakers, and you're able to basically be in a sneaker club if you had a certain sneaker. But the best part is with blockchain technology, you're able to actually verify this on chain. So that is the big difference between like making sure if these shoes are legit because you don't know if they're made in a third world country or if they're actually the correct shoe and no one is trying to scam you because you're actually able to verify this on chain. So you can look up that object and see is this actually verified? Is it the right one? Or did someone take a screenshot and upload it and have it on a collection that isn't real?
Yeah, and for those who don't know, it kind of goes along the same regards as finance terms. So we use the term ledger, which is basically a big list of transactions that can be verified that the company is giving back and forth to users, or users are trading to one another. That original ID goes along with that asset, which is actually really cool because it, like you said, it provides that authenticity of that image. As far as utilities go, can you tell us a little bit why you chose Sui and what the utilities are for the Sheriff project that you have?
Yeah, so I started on Solana, I went to Near Protocol, and then I found Sui back in 2023 around July. I was looking for kind of a new blockchain to kind of start fresh with, and Sui really popped off with the whole white paper, with having a different programming language called Move, which is more secure and easier to write compared to Rust and other languages. And for the most part, I saw the ambition, I saw the branding. I also really just kind of fell in love with the branding. But what I wanted to do with Unchained is to create something that you're able to do daily. So most of these NFT collections is you mint, you have it, but you really aren't able to do anything with that image or NFT. So I basically brought the first ever gachapon to Sui. So with your Unchained Sheriff, you're actually able to spin that every single day. So it basically gives in interaction daily, and you're also able to build a solid community with that. And we've given away over nine or no over $30,000 in rewards.
That's super unique for collections because I feel like some of them just die out because there's no use in having that image. So the image actually provides value to
Correct.
to the person minting. Well, what is minting though?
So minting is basically like, let's just say that you're buying a collection or a collectible of Pokemon cards, and there's only a certain select that you have. Minting is the same process. So you basically have something called a launch pad, or let's say it's like a store. And when you walk in and you buy one of these, you're doing the same thing. So you mint it. So you basically mint it on the chain itself. And then when all these are minted out, then you have your full collection. And then everyone in that can either resell, hold, and enjoy the community.
Okay, so like there's like a select few of these images, and once they're all bought out, that's going to increase the value.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Super interesting. The next question I have is with like participation and how people can engage with your community. So, like, how do members of your community actively get involved or contribute to its goal?
For the most part, we're a lot more active on X, or formerly known as Twitter. We are trying to bring more activity to the Discord side. We are starting to see kind of more people migrate over to Telegram in a way, but in the long term, I don't see Telegram being a place to build a community. I see it more still being on Discord, or if a different application does pop up. Because with Discord, you're able to have like video calls, you're able to have like community hangouts, you can have lo-fi, you can do like events. There's a lot more to do on Discord and really can connect with your community compared to Telegram. But we also want to do like more live streams, we want to do more games. But for the most part, if you go to at UnchainedOnSui, that is where we are more active. We don't post as much, but we really try to focus on quality over quantity compared to other collections. And we just want to build a collection that is focused on fun, being able to interact with the Sui blockchain or Sui network every single day, but then also be rewarded for that because no other collection is doing what we're doing.
Okay, so I do know that recently there was Sui Basecamp in Dubai. What was the main purpose of that event? Like, why did you decide to go all the way to Dubai to meet other people involved in Sui?
The main focus is networking. So networking, but then also meeting the community. So without a strong community, you wouldn't be anywhere. Yes, you can have all these brands, but if no one is actually building there and working with each other, then there's really no point to be on a certain blockchain. So Sui, this is the second year they've done it. The first year was actually in Paris. This year it was in Dubai, and I really wanted to meet the people behind basically the camera in a way. Like I haven't met most of these people before. Mainly these people are undoxed, so I've never seen their face, and I only know their Twitter account or their Telegram handle or even their Discord handle, but I've never actually met them in person. So it was really cool to see people in real life and actually talk to them. And people are a lot better in real life compared to online. There's a lot of huge egos that were in the Sweet community that talked a lot of big things, but when you actually met them in person, they weren't that bad as you thought.
That's good. It brings some genuineness to the avatar that's speaking out to you online through
Yep.
different platforms. That's sweet. Are there any ways that you communicate with other people? Like you said X, Discord servers, but how does that actually work? Like what are people saying or communicating? Are there like shared goals or values that or ideas that are being intercommunicated within these small communities?
So for the most part, they use X as a platform to share what they are building. So if someone's building a new DeFi platform, for example, then they're looking into sharing what they're building on X. X is the number one rated app for crypto and just blockchain technology in general. It's not as popular on Instagram or YouTube, but I do think YouTube and actually streaming platforms will basically be kind of the next big push. I do love X, but not everyone is on it, and there's actually a huge portion that you're missing out, even on like TikTok, Kick, Twitch, YouTube. I think these platforms are very underrated, and I think we're starting to see actually more people focus on long form content to basically start to show that hey, this is what we're building on chain. Even if it doesn't get that many views, it's actually a great platform to have a good brand and show what you're actually working behind the scenes because more people are actually starting to want that. They want more than just the general information of what you're building. They want to connect with you. As AI continues to grow over time, we want a more genuine connection to somebody, and I think that's where we're heading.
That's good because with new people coming into the crypto space, it's kind of hard for them to understand what's going on. And just providing those long form content videos allows them to like, hey, pause the video. I'm going to take some notes. I'm going to look up whatever Trevin's talking about. And sure enough, you have all this great information so you can start to almost self educate, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like for the most part, I've learned everything I know off of YouTube or just being in the space. I never took any university courses. College just wasn't for me, and I'm grateful to be in Web3, which is the new internet.
Oh, that's great because it's like you relied on your network and other people who were passionate about stepping away from traditional finance to try to build your own knowledge in your own way, which I think that's the best way to learn something is on yourself to begin with, right?
Exactly. I think the hard part with college for me was I was never passionate about it. So if you're passionate about something and you're hungry for more, you will push yourself to the limit to actually learn what's happening and you'll just succeed. Yes, it'll take time. It won't be super fun at the very beginning. There'll be a lot of I went through so many struggles. Like my first job as a community manager when I decided to leave the real world in a way and jump into crypto full time was $2,000 a month. And it was a struggle for a while because that was barely making men's eat. So like it was difficult, but in the long term, it basically pushed me to be a full time content creator to where I am now.
Oh, it's great. And it even propelled you to make your own project, which I think is super underrated and people are discovering it every day and they're like shocked about how the utility from the NFT project is impacting their own lives.
Yeah, like we're starting to see actually a lot of people sweep the floor, which basically means they're buying a lot of NFTs because they're starting to see that you can actually get rewards daily just by participating in a simple spin.
What would you say is like a more focus for like practical knowledge or discussion or updates as far as like how are you helping other people learn about the ecosystem through the way that you produce videos or content?
From kind of the beginning, when I started to push out content, I saw that there wasn't enough education. Yes, education content is not the most sexy, it's not the most engaging, it's kind of boring to watch. But for a normal user, it just kind of reminds me of like the early days of like watching League of Legends, like how to play this champion. And that's kind of how I see it with blockchain and Sui, for example, is I want to make the content so simple, but then also if there's someone that's been in the space for a while and they're wondering how to get started on Sui, they know how to navigate my content. I make my content beginner friendly, but then also, like I said, if you've been in the space for some time, it's really easy to follow my steps and you're able to figure out how to do things like create a wallet, learn DeFi, what games are on Sui, and just more and more and more. And that's how I've succeeded. I went from like 4,000 followers to almost now 18,000 followers in 2 years.
Yeah, just by sharing your learning experience for with other people, which is incredible because a lot of people get lost, especially with all the jargon that gets pushed around. Well, speaking of jargon, what are some like specific words or terms that are unique to the Sui community and Unchained? Because there's a lot of like acronyms or words that get passed around and no one really explains what it is. It's almost like an insider language. Could you give us a little snapshot of the insider language that the community uses?
Yeah, so a huge one that has been in the NFT space or non-fungible token space for a while is actually called WAGMI. So we are all gonna make it. This was the term that kind of blew up, and basically just saying we're early. We are entering the new financial freedom era. Then you have NGMI, which is not gonna make it. So basically, if someone's being trash to you or they don't believe in crypto is the future, then you'll just say that. Those are probably the best ways to kind of like understand the whole ecosystem. But for the most part, like as you just continue to be in the space, you'll learn a little bit more. But every blockchain has different lingo that they use. Sui is basically objects, which is completely different than other blockchains. So as you continue to learn about Sui Move, which I'm actually learning so a lot, and I would love to kind of be a mini developer in the long term to basically help on that side and actually bring more value to the NFT scene and community just by helping on the back end and also front end.
For those who don't know, Sui Move is a programming language used by developers to develop decentralized apps or objects, NFTs within the Sui blockchain. Just to add some clarification. Best question I have for you to save for the last would be how does someone go from a novice level experience to what you would classify as an expert level of knowledge within this community? Like, are there specific skills, contributions, or milestones that mark someone as an expert?
I think for the most part, when you're looking to get into the space and you just don't know where to start, it's education content. Like that's how you learn. If you're not wanting to improve yourself and educate yourself on the different blockchains or just in Web3 in general, you'll never actually learn anything. It's just like how like with college is if you just never push yourself to be better and you're just a C student, it'll just go over your head. You'll just be kind of in limbo and just be at the same level. So if you push yourself to wanting to learn about the blockchain, there's wonderful people on YouTube and also X that create exclusive content on how to learn how to be better. And I'm one of those people. And that's my whole goal is I want to educate the masses so you can actually get to the level of intermediate and then expert where you know more about Sui Move, Sui in general, like what Sui does overall with fast transaction times, how Sui also has the lowest latency. If you have like a dynamic NFT, which basically means that the NFT can actually change. It's basically a second, so it's super fast. So just like I was saying, if like you have a sword and then you upgrade that sword in the game, then that's able to basically turn into a sword with flames, which is pretty cool. So then that would give you a higher value. But mainly just going and digging. Even ChatGPT is a great resource to kind of bounce ideas off of. I do like AI, but I don't like to use it as much. I think it's good for bullet points and getting your foot in the door. But the problem is right now is that we're kind of like we're turning down our brain frequency and just letting AI do all of it for us. So we're not actually learning anything more. So if you are looking to learn and improve yourself to become the expert model, I recommend sitting down, watching hours of YouTube. That's how I learned. And then also diving deep into the docs of what makes these blockchains move and what makes them tick.
Oh, it's a really solid answer. And I definitely think that AI is not allowing us to ask those critical questions that are going to propel us with knowledge. I do have one bonus question. So at Sui Basecamp, it was presented that the Sui Play console would be released this September for that actual physical product, which is connected to an NFT. So after we've been talking about NFTs, that is a unique ID specifically for that device, and it only belongs to that device, which is only increasing the rarity, value, and overall engagement with the community. Because it's like, oh, I have NFT number, whatever, and you can see that probably on the public ledger. What do you think is Sui's direction with the gaming in that aspect? Because yeah, we have NFTs, but they're not really engageable to that level. Like you said, oh, like minting a sword. Well, that sword could now be in your hands playing this. It's almost looks like a PlayStation Portable from back in the day, but it's integrating Web 2, which is like Google, Microsoft Edge, into the Web 3 space. So now you have individual users creating their own network. Where do you see this we play evolving into the future?
Yeah, I think the Sweet Play is so unique. It's basically bringing back the PSP hype in a way. I still remember when the PSP dropped, but obviously we were never able to get one. But I remember Bryce, her cousin, having it. I was like, this is like the coolest thing ever. But obviously, I don't have it. But so they, just like you're saying, they minted 10,000 copies. So they had two different actually NFTs. So the first one was I actually got ranked 10. So I think that's
Oh,
pretty
no
cool.
way.
So that feels really good. But yeah, so on the blockchain, you're able to actually see what rank you have. So the first 2,000 actually have a mythic, which is better. So you're able to get more airdrops. So we're able to get custom airdrops to these NFTs overall, which already start to bring value. But I do think that these NFTs will later on kind of go for a better retail on the secondary market when it does open up. Right now, they are basically soul locked, so you can't really touch them. You have to wait until they get unlocked. So I think that's obviously there's a pro and con. I think it's cool because then people are not trying to flip these. Or actually, it's called Soulbound. I'm so sorry. Soulbound NFTs, and they're basically locked until you're able to unlock them in a certain way, and it's only for that address. But the cool thing actually how they did it is they basically kind of hid the address from you, so you're not trying to instantly sell these NFTs, instantly sell these airdrops that you're getting. So you have to physically just have to wait and see what happens. And I think also that just makes it more fun and exciting. But I think for long term, they're also creating something called G Dollar, which will basically be the currency for Sweet Play. I do think like this is a good idea because it's kind of like the gamer dollar in the way. So they want to embrace USDC, so in a way it'll kind of peg the same way with the American dollar or USD. but with the gaming dollar. So this is how you'll be paying for games, paying for skins. And I think what we'll actually start to see is we'll start to see more games embrace blockchain technology and drop exclusive skins for these devices. So, for example, you could only get a certain device on the Sui Play on Sui Network by purchasing it, and you'll never see it again. So it's a one-time thing. So you buy it and you hold it, or you buy it and you sell it. So I think we're starting to see more generations and more gaming companies slowly start to embrace blockchain technology because that is the future. Imagine Riot Games having Valorant, one of the biggest FPS out there, competing with CS. CS has a full on marketplace where you're able to buy in skins and sell. I think that's the coolest thing ever. But imagine you're able to see that on blockchain technology and you actually get to own that asset, and Steam doesn't take a portion of that. That's the whole goal. So if I, for example, like I said again, I can buy a sword, I can have it, I can sell it, and there's a very small percentage fee for me to sell on the secondary market, then I instantly get those funds and I'm able to do whatever I want with it. So I think gaming on Sui will basically be the future with having one of the fastest transaction times. If you guys don't already know, it's zero point 0.4 seconds. Crazy fast. You blink, it's already done. We have dynamic NFTs, which will be insanely fast with objects. We have the lowest latency in any blockchain, so you don't have to worry about that when playing games, for example. And it'll just continue to be faster and better, and it'll be perfect for gaming for the long term.
No, those are really great answers, and hopefully it answers some questions some people who don't know about the gaming side of crypto. What is one thing you would like to share with the community as like a end of interview question?
I know it sounds super cheesy, but just believe in yourself. I think we're in a generation that you don't want to put yourself first and push yourself to be better, but that's how you improve. Like that's where I got. I was pushing myself. I was creating content for such a long time. I finally met the right people, got open the right doors, and I was able to make content full time. So if you are consistent, really want to basically make it in life, improve yourself, network, and work hard, and you'll get what you want.
Oh, that's a great answer. Well, everyone, this has been Trevin versus NFT and Austin Unchained. Hopefully you enjoyed this interview and maybe you've learned something. I know I have. NFTs for the win, baby.